Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the major manufacturing. This is their part number HIT-66. You take that box, you cut it open, here's what's in the box. 2 clamps. You need 2 clamps to make this system work. Indeed, the HIT hardware installation tool 66 is just the clamp system, is all it is. It's what you need to then buy clamps to clamp. It's what you need to buy templates that you will then attach to the clamp set, and then you're off to the races. Meaning you clamp it on your door and you just start drilling holes. Now, in the box you'll get the 2 clamps. They're identical. They're not handed in any way. Large plastic knob that's here. Good rotation. Very excellent build quality. Open it up. Get it on your door. You're obviously going to have a template screwed here. Come down. The next clamp will be down here. Okay, or it'll look like this, however you're doing it. You'll have one on each side, obviously. You'll tighten that down just tight. You get the other one just tight. Tight enough to hold it, not tight enough to crush it. There are rubber pads installed in here, and they're there for a reason, because if you just put those aluminum blocks down to that wood and you tightened it, you'd leave an indentation that, frankly, you probably wouldn't notice at all. You'd get a call, and they'd send you a picture, and it would have these 2 weird bruises or indentations right where those clamps used to be, after they supposedly sand it and then clear coat it or stain it, especially stain. That brings out that damage. Been there, so I know that firsthand. So what else you get is going to be your 1/8 of an inch T-shaped Allen wrench. Okay, this company Eklund, they make every conceivable Allen wrench possible, unrelated to this major. But we sell Eklund as well. You're also going to get this little doodad, and this thing attaches to your 86 edge, your Mortis pocket cutout. It's going to be 8-inch tall. It's going to be 1.25 wide. Now, what is this for? This is like the guide. In fact, this is a part number HIT-4509, and they literally call it Mortis alignment plate. And it comes with the HIT 66. So what happens is this. You attach this to your Mortis pocket. When you have your clamp system and you have your big, large, heavy aluminum template screwed, attached to both sides, now you've got an integrated clamp system. You get that over the door. Well, in the edge of the template, there's going to be a female-shaped receiver that the entire system will fit over, and that will keep it positioned where you need it to be in terms of a height location. So the nice thing about this is you don't need to worry about any dimensions. No measuring from the top of the door to the center of any holes, laying out a whole mess of holes. You don't have to, you would never do that, of course, with the template, but you don't have to strike a center line. They have struck the center line for you with this. So your template will sit over that. You are automatically finding all of your function hole reference points as it pertains to this dimension. I don't know that that is in the center, or I don't know if that is in the Mortis pocket center or if it's in the any sort of latch center. Let's take a look. Is it at 4-inch? Yeah, it's at 4-inch. So it's that's in the center of the Mortis pocket. So when they do their templates, they have that guide system, that female guide that will fit over. So let's take it a step further. I happen to have half of the HIT-66-282. This is for doing Schlegel. That's for doing Schlegelocks. So it's obviously going to go like this. You've got these 4 holes drilled and tapped. We're going to use the bottom 2. And that's going to screw right like that. Is what it's going to look like. Okay. Now what happens is this whole thing goes over the door. Well, if you'll notice, we got a couple of holes drilled and countersunk here. That's where that female guide is going to go, that this is then going to fit through and into. Okay, it'll look like that. And that item, I can show you, because I have the 282 taken apart, is right here. So that gets attached to one of your inside of your templates, and then that's going to fit right into it, and that's going to give you that proper center line. So it's really a brilliant idea on this. This is going to give you, this Schleg template, will give you, whether it's Schleg or Yale or Corbin, whoever your whoever you're using. That's what that HIT 4509 does. Really important. So this video is not too extraordinary because it's just the clamp system, but we've demonstrated how the clamp system works cohesively with the templates that you would get, of which there are countless, several and many. This is heavy. This entire kit weighs almost 7 pounds is what it almost weighs. Okay. Brass bushing. Brass is a self-lubricating metal, which is going to give you a very smooth operation, extremely smooth and durable. There is, as I said earlier, absolutely no need, and please resist the temptation of tightening it too much. You can leave marks that are not discoverable till later, even after you sand it. Even if you were to take one trick that you may implement to raise or lift the grain is take a spray bottle, a bottle of water and a spray, very fine mist, and you'll hit that door a little bit. It'll bring the fiber up. Let that dry, and then you can sand it. But these tactics will not really mitigate that sort of problem. So don't over tighten it. Just enough to hold it on the door. In fact, it's going to be here as well. So don't over tighten it. Now, some basic dimensional properties just because we have it here. Overall width of the clamp itself looks like it's about 5 inch. Overall height about 2.5 inch. That knob's pretty huge. Okay, about 2 1/4 inch. It says right on it, HIT 66, major manufacturing, Anaheim, California. Okay. Should you need to service the tool, and I think that I don't know that you would need, well, you might need to service the tool should something get damaged. And though that Allen wrench is going to be here to hold the clamping system on, I don't think you would ever need to modify the relationship between these threaded bushings so that you are, well, you might need to, I suppose. Here's what I'm driving at. The minimum door thickness is, it'll clamp down to about 1 1/8 inches. So let's say 1 3/8. I don't know what the manufacturer says. They say 1 1/4. Okay. They say it opens up to 2 7/8. Now, we'll open that up. We'll take a look at what that is. And that's the bottom line is I'm driving somewhere with the maximum thickness. Okay, so I've got that open as far as it will reasonably go. And that's going to spread open. They say 2 7/8. Yeah, that's accurate. It's going to go to 2 7/8. So the reason about the potential adjusting is if this is going to go to 2 7/8 and you're going to clamp this down, your clamps are going to move along with this, obviously. If you had an unusual thickness door where everything was, if the lock was being installed not in the center of the thickness of your, say, 2 3/4 inch thick door, you could change the relationship of how you thread this together so as to accommodate the fact that you've got 1 3/4 thick door with a 1 inch panel applied to one side of the door only, and that when you clamp everything down, in order to get the clamp system with the templates down onto the edge of the door, a la the alignment tool, you might need to adjust the relationship here. Now, I've never done it on this. I know that on their 2 1/8 tool that HIT 44, I think is the part number, you can change that relationship because it's not uncommon to need to drill work in the edge of the door, not in the center of the door. That 2 1/8 inch hole in that HIT 44, but that edge you might need to bias because you could have a 2 inch door and the lock is not installed in the thickness of that. Why would that be the case? Well, most commonly that I see it, and I do it somewhat routinely for these millwork companies who are adding, right now we're doing an extremely high-end, the name synonymous with, Swiss or Austrian, I forget what country they're in, high-end watch manufacturer, just think of that name. A boutique store of theirs in Boston, and they have very, They're adding a 1/2 inch on this one door on the secured side. They're adding 3/4 stone on the secure side of this door. So all these weird situations require function holes be done in unusual positions. And then, you know, if you extract that out further, you need hardware you need a long spindle on one side, and you need a long thumb turn on one side, where you need an extended lip strike, and then you're going to need, you know, a standard cylinder, but you might need a super long cylinder on one side and a standard strike. So the dynamics of how the mortise lock changes is directly related to, sure, not only the thickness of the door, but once you get outside of the thickness of the door where it's understood that it's centered in the door, the lock case is centered in the door. You know, if you order a lock for a 2 1/4 inch thick door, they're going to assume that it's all centered. That may not be what you're doing. You might have an 1 3/4 thick door with a 1/2 inch panel. So if it's on, the panel is being added to the secured side, the side with the key, you're going to need a cylinder a 1/2 inch longer. You're going to need a spindle a 1/2 inch longer. On the inside of that, you just need the regular stuff because you've got an 1 3/4 thick door with a thumb turn and a strike. None of that's changing. It's just you're adding that extra thickness on the outside. The ability of the clamp system to accommodate for that is somewhat of the genius, most definitely, of the major clamp system, because you're buying it to ritualize the process, but to also save time. And you have to have the tool to adapt. So that was my very long way of saying, if you needed to adjust this at all or service it, which is why they certainly include the Allen, the T-shaped Allen wrench, that's why you might consider doing that. Let's switch now to the screen view, and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, let's take a trip down into looking at what this is. Here is our item, stock factory image. Speaking of images, I have some here. The box. That's what's in the box. That's one of the clamps. Different views of the clamp. That's your rubber pad. There is no installation instructions included with this, but I'm quite sure that you can buy replacement rubber pads. If you need those, reach out to us. The opposite side, we have a few more here to look at. Okay, top view. Sorry, minimum dimension, 1 1/4 they say. 2 7/8 they say, I think, maximum dimension. And then your alignment tool and your Allen wrench. Now, let's look at the extended description. Clamp system. Rubber-lined jaws have a door range from 1 1/4 to 2 7/8. Template's attached to the clamp at the top and bottom and is self-centering, so the height of the clamp is determined by the template used. Okay. So 2 things there. The clamp is self-centering. When you turn the knob, it will center itself. But then the height of where everything is being installed at is determined by the alignment tool, the alignment attachment, based on the template that you're using. The clamp is machined from aluminum and anodized gray. This appears to be black to me. A threaded clamp shaft is run through the brass bushings for smooth opening and tightening. Unit is sold as each pair. When you buy one, you will get 1 box that contains 2 each pieces. Prices for 1 pair, P-A-O-R. Okay, let's fix that. 1 pair of clamps. Now, factory image here again, product brochure. Let's take a bit of a closer look at that product brochure. Let's dive in and see what's happening. So, the HIT 66 system is right here. Nothing new here. This is the same stuff we've just gone over. This is a product brochure because it includes sister products to it. Okay. Now here, let's go to the 282 if we have it here. The template I showed you earlier. Here we go. So this is the template that I showed you earlier. I actually showed you the plate back here. And I won't read this because it's not related, but that's where that alignment gizmo clamps or bolts to the template itself, which is then aligned over your 86 edge. Okay, and that part number is stamped on it. It's called the HIT 4509 alignment plate. And it will say here, this template requires the HIT 66. That includes the HIT 4509 Mortis alignment plate, clamp system sold separately. The template includes inside and outside, a drill guide. All drill guide holes are identified for trouble-free drilling. Blah, blah, blah. There you go. So that explains that. Now, there is a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page where you can review not only all of the major products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And let's go ahead and fire that up. This is 100 plus pages of, and here's our HIT 66 right there. Here's our template system that clamps to it, clamps to this. A variety of hardware installation tools are to be found in this catalog, that is for sure. A variety of security hardware that locksmiths would generally use. I believe all these are discontinued, unfortunately. Some of this material is still available. Strikes, reinforcing hardware, security hardware, a very robust yet simple way to lock sliding or swinging doors are here. Okay, like a vertical police lock is kind of what that is. That's kind of neat. As we scroll through, mounting brackets for different types of hardware, more security hardware, latch guards, cylinder collars. We get down further, and then you're going to get into the hardware installation tools. Now, what's nice about this is there is a cross-reference guide here. So if you know that you're working on, an alarm lock, DL, a trilogy, a DL 2700, look for the HIT 102. Okay, that's what they're telling you there. Let's look for HIT 102. There it is. HIT 102. You're doing a T2 by alarm lock. That's the template you use. You get the point. Lots of good information is in here. I would very much recommend that you scroll through. If you're looking for hardware installation tools, I would, the people who manufacture these, I really can't think of a company that I would rather have an investment quality template system other than Major, because of how comprehensive their offering is and how modular their offering is. You're going to take that HIT 66 and make it work for lots of different door locks. Okay. Anyway, let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, I'm quite partial when it comes to major manufacturing items. Probably for the reasons that I'm familiar with the tools, meaning I've mortised, prepped, machined, unexaggeratedly, I'll say that, thousands of doors. So knowing how to drill doors is part of what I just happen to know about because of my experience of having done it. I know what these tools should look like when they're on the door, how they should behave and act, and I can tell you that the material would be capable to the job. Also, every time that I contact the factory for tech support, they are right there with it. They do a really good job. I've called and spoke to 2 or 3 different people there. There's generally one person that I speak to. But there's been times when I've talked to other people, and they know their product. Stone cold, they know their product. These two are people who have actually used the tools, that they have machined thousands of doors themselves. And they've probably engineered the tool to account for the reality of what it takes to go about doing it vis-a-vis these rubber pads. Okay. clearly a company that really understands the project, the process, and how to go about creating the tools. And that's why I would suggest that you consider them as well. If you need help determining what you need, reach out to us. We have an understanding of the product line, and if it is past our capability of understanding it, we know the shoulder at the factory of the person that we can tap to get the correct answer. If you have any questions on the HIT 66 clamp system or any other major manufacturing product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you very much. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.